understand.
Good.
While working on the previous video, I put on Personal Power 2 by Tony Robbins at a low volume.
Yeah, well, I'm freelance, pal. I don't make my living waiting for the TV to tell me what to cover.
Where before there had been silence for the entirety of the tape and the next one, someone in my house seemed to make angry, distressing noises. Or just uncomfortable ones. Distressing. People hate power. People hate you. People want you to be dead. This is a challenge to circumnavigate that. This is your life. Take it. Take the power. Use it. Take control of your life. The challenge for this video was to read Unlimited Power and beat Dead Rising in 7 days. And I did it. I almost flagged, and there were a couple days where I did not meet my daily allotment, but I did it. At 11 something, characteristically. And the game became like a reflection of the book, which is due to happen. But what came clear was that the game's main character, the protagonist with a capital P, Frank West, see that manifest destiny, which his camera and his questioning authorities and his camera being serviced or at least provided for at a shop next to the exit of the security place with the gematria of 33 suggests that he was meant to be the real authentic living man and the rest of the people were meant to be the dead. Well, it became clear that that game was about a real living man. That is you. You are that real living man. And if you can play this game well, then you can be that too. Jean-Paul Sartre said, hell is other people. Actually, that's not true. Like God saying, I am that am, not I am that I am in the Bible, it's him saying hell is other people through a character in a play, not him saying it. That's called No Exit. Anyway, there's a lot of hell with the people of Dead Rising. You've got Frank, who's the good character here, but only so good. He's a guy that questions authority, cares about the mission, but not too much, i.e. not believing in the truth like Steve the Butcher or Steven, the grocery store manager or grocery store guy who dies after attacking you, saying, my customers, as if his job at a store is the last thing keeping them from being dead. That's a man who doesn't believe in the truth and lets himself get wrapped up in his ego. And anyway, Frank questions the cocksuckers in the police force in doing both, i.e. in questioning authority and caring about the mission. Hence him saying something like the badass Jack the Line did ya, after Jessie, the Fed, who characteristically pretends like she is not a Fed, says that they trace something back to here, at the mall. The other people at the mall are either cops or semi-cops, like Brad, who's named probably after Brad Vickers from RE1 and has a similar race to get him the medicine in time, Jessie, and Otis. Well, those three. And Otis is really a security guard. Anyway. The sheeple, like Natalie, you, and Shinji, most of them screaming after you save them, because why not in this world? So you have to go upstairs to avoid them and wait on the helipad just to get your breath. Then we have the opposers. These are the guys who oppose you. They are zombies and the psychopaths. That's what the game calls them. These are the people who are either the criminals in the park riding around a truck and shooting people and hitting them with baseball bats, or the Carlito guy you keep following around, or who keeps following around you, the guys who just want to kill you. That's fine. Just so many of them do. So you go around taking out the people who oppose you and trying to save the sheeple who also oppose you often, and then you get a score for it at the end of the game. It turns out that the people you are against are the Vipers, but Brad is a Viper too, as are Jesse and Otis and all the rest. Otis, who keeps calling you while you're fighting with zombies and getting mad when you try to escape and cut off his phone call or you get attacked and do. One of the best scenes is when Brad, just after stopping Carlito with Frank, you, mostly Frank, holds out a hand for you to shake it. You refuse. You are the conspiracy theorist, a term used by the CIA to discredit questioners in the United States of America, but after the Kennedy assassination, and then ongoing. Anyway. But really, in so being, you are a journalist, because they're supposed to question the media, or the government. And take it from me, I have a journalism degree.
Could you come back here? I need you to check it out.
He's going all...
So in reading and thinking about Unlimited Power for the first day, which would have been Saturday, after I published Beat 'em Ups, after YouTube helpfully let me edit out the part that was long, how did that get in there? I think a computer hacker. I realized that the two main places my energy was being taken away from me, or my success really, were in energy and beliefs. And so, how do we combat that? Well, Tony has 7 characteristics of success, and I have the passion, I have the strategy, or could get it, or use it. I have the clarity of values, honest and good. I have the bonding power, or enough, and I have the mastery of communication with myself and others. Or at least I'm developing that. But the main 2 places the success is being taken away from me are the energy, when I have people saying things and making noises and following me around, and the beliefs, which get sapped when I allow those negative forces to disempower me. They get into me like a leak into my hold, and then I have to plug that leak. So in reading and thinking about Unlimited Power, well, this game has a lot to match that. How do you protect yourself? By following the battle plan, and by readjusting our beliefs to say, no, I am okay, I can do this, and I am power. I have the power to become a big YouTuber. I have the passion, clearly. I have the drive. In other words, and don't let Scott Adam dissuade you on passion, and other people dissuade you on that. That's probably one of the biggest psyops in our culture, right next to something Tony Robbins pushes himself, which is that everyone's so comfortable when you look around and everyone's cringing and squealing in distress at all times. And I have all the other things, so I just need to keep breathing. To keep my energy up, and then I need to stop the leak where it starts, which is in bad beliefs or disempowering ones. Also, your protections on the back end are to never thank your abusers, which is how the cycle of abuse starts again. And the main ones, be honest and be good. If you are honest and good, you can't be beaten down. They can corrupt you if you let your honesty slip for only a second. Otherwise, they can't. This is the most important thing. This is the important doctrine. Well, we'll get somewhere better where people don't act like that. This is what I said to myself as I was walking away from my car, which had scratch marks on it, in lines that seemed decidedly not random all over the back. Hopefully someday I will.
Doing these and achieving this, I will not be in capitulation. I have found the result. The thing is, I get sidetracked or off-tracked by a certain specific stimuli. And then I feel like what I am doing is capitulating. But if I set out a specific list of things that I will do and achieve, and it will be the things that are not in capitulation, then I will win. Then I don't have to worry about it. So I have found those things, those 2 things, and then the one goal. That would be honest and be good, and, quote, house with the security system, unquote. As in, if I am going for something I am fully behind, and I am being honest and I am being good, then I cannot lose. I cannot not win, because I am beating everyone. Everyone already. No one is doing that, no one is being that. No one of you. And if you are, then you're beating everybody too. And you will have a life you dream of. If you are not doing that, then aside the third thing, you are evil. When you are Frank, you go get the story. That's it. When people bullshit Frank, whether it be the cocksucker in the FBI, Brad, holding out a hand for him to shake it, or the woman with the blonde hair hiding behind a security door when talking to the old man, he says, "Fuck you, I know you are going to do it." Immediately, as soon as the girl, the woman, says that she knew it was this way because she traced a call right here to this mall, he says, "Jack the line, did ya?" He sees the bullshit. That's why he's the cameraman, and the camera store is Cam's Cameras, as in 33, as in this is the 33rd level Freemason. He may not actually be in the story, but he definitely is, in terms of everybody calling him crazy, and him being not only the hero of the game, but the only guy questioning everything and staying real about it. On one end, as in not just sort of saying, "This is so exciting," like Otis, and then calling him at inopportune moments, and then literally, after Frank is attacked, calling back and saying, "Don't cut me off, that's rude," with both exclamation points, and yet not getting so wrapped up in a bullshit job that he becomes a crazy person, like the guy in the grocery store who says, "Where are my customers?" or "What will they do?" or whatever when he dies, after he tries to kill you. He didn't care about the people, but you do. And the Viper in the FBI who stuck out his hand and didn't deserve to shake it, with you. Not with you, the real person. And in being a real person, he has to, and thus you have to, plan his route around the mall, all the times, and monitor with priorities, not with wants or schedules in mind. This is a game that way, more than Persona 4 or whatever, relies on you rushing to things from place to place, time to time, and then you can only take a break up on the roof because everyone's screaming inside the safe house. You are a busy man, and everyone else is fodder. The best people are the cops, unfortunately. The worst are the psychopaths, who are free but either evil, like Carlito, or evil and dumb, like the guys in the park. And then you have the average masses, who are the worst, probably. They say, "Look at how slow and foolish the zombies are," while looking at themselves. And thus, and thus. As for the TI dilemma, which has been hitting me full force, let's just say that we can be empowered and separate it into 4 different categories. Others who will discount because they just assume we're crazy, or whatever, just simply discounting us because that is what they would do. Others who are indeed a part of it, which seems to be most others. And they're not going to acknowledge it. Why was that guy so ostentatiously doing my trigger at the grocery store today? Others who would perhaps acknowledge it if we showed them enough proof, and then us. What's the use of talking to the majority of people around us? Is Rosemary going to convince the Satanists around her? As for that third group, are they going to save you? No, it's just the 4th. So why think about them? So amidst all the computer hacking, stalking, just this week, I was stalked by 2 different people in Walmart, one going so far as to follow me to be at the other register across from me after he got in my way at the item I thought to get ahead of time in the aisle, making little coughing noises as he pulled up. This is what I deal with relentlessly. Food tampering at places like the Carriage Inn in South Kingstown, Rhode Island, who of my last checking had still not responded to my review, complete with photos. Cops brushing off my reports of said food tampering and harassment, the latter them turning into, "You think your neighbors are harassing you," from me saying they are, and etc. Other ways this game teaches empowerment are how, for example, if you run through the park and look away from the criminals, they tend not to be coming after you. If they are stuck in a tree, even better. This is classic Tony Robbins. Look away from the wall you don't want to run into. Another thing is finding the cheese for the boss fights. The Isabella motorcycle boss fight is a nightmare until you achieve the realization that you can just get up on the thing next to the middle section with the ramps, stand on it, and then throw whatever you have at her from there. Without revealing the ending, by the way, it gives you a big long time, the game does, until the 7th, the second to last, set of normal cases. This seems like a reward and a chance to get your affairs in order. Good thing. So what did I do? Fought the Illuminati, and won. But first I got some swords, and snacks. Another thing this game taught is precision modeling. Just like Robbins talked about, you can take your own or other people's strategies and make it work under the harsh boss constraints and time ones. I had to fish with my biggest challenge, both on a time level and, on a lower level, on a boss one, with the Butcher, who was bizarrely late in the game for how bizarre he was. Anyway, I tried it again and again, having perhaps soft-locked myself. I had to get my strategy right, and then repeat and repeat my execution. Guns first, then cookies, then Uzi, which is how I did it when I won the fight, but then lost the trek back to the next mission in time. Now I want to take a real turn with this. Getting almost to the end of Unlimited Power, I am getting to a section on advertising and mass consciousness. Yes, it's a good example of starry-eyed optimism and perhaps the sense of ignoring things that Tony might have known about. Alan Watt, this isn't. However, I would like to do this for change. I would like to do this for good. And so, I want this to be a Mother's Day gift. Mom, I hope you watch this and hear this. I don't know exactly how things got so harsh between us, but while I don't appreciate the sense of not being appreciated, I know that you have both given me a lot and are up against. I know that I had been difficult, and so I hope that things can turn out better between us. Dead Rising has a lot of challenges like real life. One of the things Tony keeps repeating as I'm reading it, I'm on day 3 right now, or 4 if you count Sunday, is that the one thing we all don't have enough of is time. Well, as Dead Rising knows, time is your main enemy. Yes, like Majora's Mask, or games like Persona or Stardew Valley, Dead Rising challenges you to do the things you need to do within the time limit. So, as for the name of this chapter, I beat the boss in the supermarket, which was an easy fight, but hard enough because of the time. It was really a race challenge. And I opted, after trying to take the weapon cart, his scary cart decked out like a Mad Max truck, out for a ride to kill the zombies with, to just not do anything and get out of there without even taking the shotgun. I still made it back. Didn't in time. Because, after I checked my watch, the screen said the scoops were lost, and unlike some of the scoops, these were the ones I needed to do the story. The mission was called Medicine Run, by the way, and I needed to bring the medicine back in time to save Brad. And of course I thought of the guy in Resident Evil dying because I didn't bring it fast enough. Was his name Brad? And so I didn't take the shotgun, and I lost the mission. And the game. Time is the nightmare in this game. And when you have Otis's phone ringing constantly, off the hook, which is a literal practice from Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, the self-help classic, imagine a phone ringing, and then don't answer it. And the groans and moans of zombies all around you, you know stress. Just as a quick aside, and we'll get to this topic on Frank being skeptical later, or actually we already did, but whatever. Frank West, there never was a better name for an empowered man, right? The manifest destiny. Tony says in Unlimited Power that the protein bullshit, people, cow-like, but do you get enough protein, is wrong. And that the disparity between 39 to 110 grams a day recommended by different countries shows it. How can they all be right? And of course, your country is never right. And the first step to empowerment is thinking. So, this game requires you to think. It requires you to think a lot. Basically, the entire game is planning. Do I go to the skateboard shop to get a skateboard on the way to the butcher so that I can go faster? But if I do, then I lose the amount of time that I have, which I'm already working against, on the way there. It may increase my speed, but it may lose me some speed in the long run. Do I go grab the sword, or do I basically work with the 2x4 that I already have?
So, to make this video and get through unlimited power as well in the 6 days, well, 7, but I did keep Sunday as a day of rest, I made a plan. This is something they would encourage you to do in Dead Rising. After what I did on Saturday, that means I had 80 pages a day to read for the book, and then day 1 by Tuesday, day 2 by Wednesday, day 3 by Thursday, and any overtime by Friday in Dead Rising. Also, the back-end audios to do, and I did them. That's what's called a real man. Part of the outcome for this video, which is something Tony gets into and should help you live your real life, setting outcomes, or indeed knowing your outcome, is to create a video good enough that the seeming attempts of people around me to cast as some kind of crazy lunatic the maker of this video will be dispersed. You look at this and it is the work of someone who is, indeed, a free man. So, hold on. So this should be a shorter back end than usual. It was a long one before, and I was watching through it, and it seemed like it was not incredibly compelling. I thought it would be fairly compelling because it was a day-by-day account of my time reading the book and playing the game. And it was a fairly interesting process. I set daily goals for myself, like 80 pages a day, about 79 the last day, 20 pages the first day, and then the Sunday, in between the first day and the Monday, was no pages. So it was 20, then 80 times 4, then 79. And there was at least one day where I missed my goal of the amount. But then, of course, between 11 and 12, and closer half to 12, I officially finished Dead Rising, and I wasn't sure that I was going to do that. And then, actually, between 10 and 11, on Friday, I officially finished Unlimited Power. So I finished it all, and it was quite a lot. And it was a lot of reading. Last time I had pushed myself that much with reading, I think, was reading The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie, which that was not the previous October, but the October before then. Time flies. And it was helpful. Reading Unlimited Power was very helpful. I think I expected it to be maybe a little more transformative than it seemed to be, but I think I'm feeling the effects, and one thing is that while it seems more clear to me than ever that indeed I have faced local harassment in the style of what would be termed gang stalking, and I truly mean that. It also seems to me that I may have been wrong about the main person in my family that I thought was like kind of antagonistic. And I'm glad if that is the case. Actually, really glad. So what did I take away from the game? Well, and from reading Unlimited Power, same week, it was truly empowering. That game really is about empowerment. I kid you not. It's a game really about time management. It puts the ball in your court and says, There are a bunch of people you can save, and you do feel good about saving people. And it is difficult, but yet it is kind of fun, and the game somehow makes escort missions fun. I think these are my favorite escort missions, and I include in that much of, if not most of, Resident Evil 4. These escort missions are good. They're so relatively good that if I went back and played the game, I'd be excited to do more of them. I saved like 5 or 6 people, whatever. But including Jill, the drunkard, or the guy who was getting drunk anyway. And I think I got a lot of points for saving him. That was awesome. He would just sort of stand there, and I was already kind of low on time. One thing about the game is that you're sort of constantly low on time. Like you really are. To the point where, and maybe this will be my sort of final, or maybe I'll do sort of like me trying over and over again to beat the butcher. Not the grocery store guy, but the butcher. Basically, I got to the end of the game, and it felt like I saved, and I had almost soft locked myself. In fact, I had a different save where I think it might have literally been a soft lock. I literally beat the butcher, and it seemed like I didn't have enough time to get back to essentially to activate a cutscene and like beat the game, because like it's bizarre, but the butcher seems to be the last boss. So I beat the butcher. Not to give too many spoilers, but basically, then you have to run somewhere else, and like I went there. I went in the wrong direction anyway, but I'm not sure I would have had time to get there, even if I went in the right one. And that was, so basically, but I had one save that I kept, because if you save at a wrong time, you may not give yourself enough time to get somewhere, do something, and get back. And when I'm talking about like the game is sort of an empowerment training thing or as a planning thing, it really is. Beyond that, it really is a stressful experience. Anyone who's played the game knows when you head into that frickin' Central Park area, it's not only the criminals driving around in the truck who seem basically unbeatable. Like, you can shoot at them with a handgun. Those enemies are bullet sponges like crazy, and not just them. But, of course, they have a frickin' minigun, and they're like, driving back and forth and stuff. Luckily, they seem to get stuck on a tree. I don't know if that's intentional or not. And also, it's sort of a Tony Robbins thing, where if you literally look away from them, it's like looking away from, you want to look away from a wall. If you're going towards a wall in a car, Robbins, I think in Notes from a Friend and probably also Awaken the Giant Within, he says, if you look away from the wall, you don't look at the wall, then you're probably going to steer into it. And so if you look away from the criminals, it doesn't always work, but it seems like if you see them and basically like they're not yet coming after you and you just simply turn the camera away from them and keep going, it's much less likely that they come after you. I don't think that's necessarily intentional, but there's so much empowerment stuff. I mentioned the Maxwell Maltz thing, I think, in the review, the video, main part of it. I mentioned the Maxwell Maltz thing, but it's literally a mental exercise from Psycho-Cybernetics, which is one of the most famous and helpful self-help books there is, or empowerment ones. He says, basically, imagine a phone ringing and don't answer it. And so the whole game, it's like Otis is calling you again and again. You're literally fighting a boss and Otis is calling you. It's bizarre. But here's the thing, like, so, but it's a maelstrom because you have these zombies moaning. You're going through these zombies. There may be like somebody running behind you. They're trying to get through zombies maybe. And then you have the phone ringing, and then if you're in the Central Park area, then you've got the criminals maybe driving around and potentially driving into you or into the other person, and then you have the zombies, you have them screaming, you have the criminals sort of howling, but then you have this horrible, like, interestingly spiritual message, because it's as it would be naturally, because it's like this facsimile Beastie Boys song, and it's like the harsher Beastie Boys. So it's like these guys who they really sound like the Beastie Boys, and they're rapping about like kind of spiritual themes, but they're doing it like halfway like punky, and it's so grating, and it's just like blasting in your ears while the criminals are coming after you, while the phone might be ringing, while the zombies are like "Rrr, rrr," and while like someone's running behind you. It feels like hell, especially when you're getting towards the end of the game and you have this time limit, and it's just like, oh my god, I've got to go through Leisure Park again, and it feels like the stress of hell. That game is just like an endless stress nightmare, but it's a stress nightmare in a really interesting way, and it's one of the best games I've ever played.